today. This is, I think, gives real importance to what this event is for Uganda being here in the Middle East. As probably you know, up until now, very much places like the UK, Germany, other places in Europe have been the main focus of Uganda to look for its tourists. But now, as a very big push from the very top of the government and the ministry, they have now come over here today. They will be greeting you a little bit later. But they'll also be hoping to use this as day one for all of us to experience Uganda first. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Uganda to start off with the sounds and the culture from Uganda. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Uganda, when we are happy, when great things are going to begin, the moment we recite our poetry, everyone agrees that everything I'm saying is true. So whether you understand it or not, every time I pause, all of you go, hey! That's right, you can need to make it stronger.
Are you awake? Do we have your attention? What an amazing welcome. This is a Ugandan welcome. So I would just like to give everyone another round of applause for this amazing performance. Providing you a little bit of an insight into the culture, the hospitality of Uganda and Ugandans. Now you've heard the music, you've seen the dance. Now we would like to just show you briefly, visually, what Uganda has to offer.
Uganda is a fairy tale. You climb up, and at the end, there is a wonderful new world. Uganda is a fairy tale. You climb up, and at the end, there is a wonderful new world.
It appears we're having a little bit of digital problems, but we'll just fix that. But in the meantime, what I would like to do is that, as I mentioned briefly a little bit earlier, that we are launching a new campaign for Uganda here in the Middle East, and we are extremely honored to have some very distinguished guests all the way from Uganda to be here and to meet with you and to join you in this launch of combined promotion of Uganda here in the UAE and also for the rest of the GCC. So I would just like to just mention who is attending with us here today. We have the Honorable Professor Ibrahim Kamuntu, Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. We also have His Excellency Zake Wanume Kibeti, the Ugandan Ambassador to the UAE. We also have a High Commissioner that is also here present, and also members of Parliament that are here today. Without any further ado, what I would like to do is call on Claire Mugabe to come up to the stage and give a presentation a bit about Destination Uganda. So Claire, if you could please come to the stage from the Ugandan Tourism Board. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Honorable Ephraim Kamuntu, the Ambassador of the Government of Uganda to the UAE, Your Excellency Zake Wanume Kibeti, members of Parliament present, the delegation from Uganda here to attend the Uganda-UAE Convention, High Commissioners present from the different countries, our guests, the media and travel trade of the UAE present, the media from Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I'm Claire Gabi, and I'm the marketing manager of the Uganda Tourism Board. I welcome you today to this event as we launch the Experience Uganda campaign in the UAE market. I'm here to give you an overview about our destination, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. How many of you here know that Uganda is the Pearl of Africa? By show of hands. Yes, clap for yourselves. Uganda is the certified Pearl of Africa, as mentioned and named and dubbed by the Prime Minister of Britain in 1904. He said, and I'm going to read from the presentation, "Concentrate on Uganda for magnificence, for variety of form and color, for profusion of brilliant life, bird, insect, reptile, beast for vast scale. Uganda is truly the Pearl of Africa." And that is what Sir Winston Churchill said when he was Prime Minister at that time. After having traversed different countries in the world, after his time, so many people actually come and say that Uganda is not only the Pearl of Africa, but it is indeed the Diamond of Africa. Many have gone ahead actually to contest that and say again that Uganda is not only the Diamond of Africa, but it is the Africa in Africa. So I am here, ladies and gentlemen, today to share with you why my beautiful country, the Pearl of Africa, is the undisputed beauty and pearl in the Pearl of Africa. To tell you generally about Uganda, Uganda is a relatively small country by size. It's about 2,036 square kilometers. We are located in the eastern part of Africa. We are a landlocked country. Uganda is known as the Pearl of Africa, like I've mentioned. Yes, so to take you back, like I've already mentioned, we are known as the Pearl of Africa because of our diverse natural endowments and beauty, which I'm going to share with you as we go along in the presentation. Uganda has a rich culture, very diverse, and we boast to have over 56 tribes for a country as small as Uganda, like I've already shared. We have a population of approximately 40 million people. Our climate is tropical, wet in the center, cold in the mountains. We have 2 dry seasons, that's from December to February, and then June to August. Uganda is the Pearl of Africa because of its diverse natural endowments and beauty. We are blessed with a very diverse, very rich tourism product proposition. We have the wildlife, we have nature, we have culture, we have heritage, and a very rich history. Our tourism sector is one of the fastest growing industries in the country, contributing growing at an estimated growth rate of about 21% and contributing approximately 10% of our national gross revenue. In terms of target markets, we are currently focusing on the North American market, which is the US and Canada. We are focusing on German-speaking countries and the UK as the core source markets for tourism arrivals. However, we've now gone ahead to concentrate on some emerging markets where we have seen a lot of potential for our country because we meet our tourism offering resonates with the needs of those countries. Those include emerging markets of the UAE, that is why we are here today, ladies and gentlemen. We are also looking at China and Japan. In terms of Africa, we are looking at South Africa and countries in East Africa, including Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania. But like I've mentioned, the UAE is a core emerging market for us in terms of tourism arrivals. That is why we're here to take the media, travel trade media in the UAE through the proposition of the Pearl of Africa. I am going to show you a couple of attractions that we have which make us truly the Pearl of Africa and different and unique, that make our destination pristine and different. Uganda has 4 of East Africa's greatest lakes. These include Lake Victoria, Lake Choga, Lake Albert, and Lake Edward, with Lake Victoria being the world's second largest freshwater lake at about 68,000 square kilometers. We're also home to Sese Islands, a paradise with variety of white sand beaches, birds, and tropical vegetation. Uganda has Lake Bunyonyi, which is the second deepest lake in Africa. We are also home to the source of the world's longest river, which is the River Nile, measuring over 4,184 miles. Some of the best waterfalls in the world are found in Uganda, including the Machizon, Karuma, Sipi, Kalagala, Seziwa, and Itanda Falls. Uganda has over 12 wetlands of international importance designated under the Ramsar Convention. In terms of our adventure products, the Pearl of Africa is still the preferred destination for adventure. We get visitors to come in for bungee jumping, whitewater rafting, sport fishing, canoeing, water sport in the lakes. We have excellent beaches. You can come for windsurfing and alpine adventure. All that is in our adventure product offering. We have scenic landscapes and mountains. In the southwest of the Pearl of Africa is Chigezi, which is also referred to as the Switzerland of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been to the Pearl of Africa, you need to come and check out the Chigezi area. It is the Switzerland of Africa because of its scenic landscape and weather. We have the Mount Resori, which is over 5,109 meters. What is very unique about our mountain resort is that it is permanently snow-capped. This is a very rare condition, especially because of the fact that our country is crossed by the equator. So we lie in the equatorial zone, but we have a snow-capped mountain, which is our Mount Resori. Mountain Resori, ladies and gentlemen, was also voted among the top hiking places in the world. So if you have any tourists who are interested in mountaineering, Uganda is undoubtedly the place to go. We have the Virunga volcanoes in southwestern Uganda, which were voted a must-see place for 2012 in one's lifetime. Then in the eastern part of the Pearl of Africa, we have Mountain Elgon, which is Africa's 17th highest mountain. We have Mountain Mukahinga and Mountain Muhabura. We also have Mountain Koroto. Again, one of the key things that make us truly the Pearl of Africa is the fact that Uganda is the world's premier private destination. Uganda is home to over 54% of the world's mountain gorillas. We have approximately, slightly above, more than 700 mountain gorillas in the world, and the Pearl of Africa is home to over 54%. There are over 5,000 chimpanzees in Uganda. In Chiwale Forest alone, we have a population of more than 1,000 chimpanzees out of the 5,000 in the world, in the country. The Pearl of Africa is also home to the world's largest number of monkeys, baboons, apes, rare calabas, the nocturnal bush babies, and the poachers found in the pristine eco-environment. So all this rich proposition makes Uganda the preferred destination for wildlife. We also boast to be a top birding destination. The Pearl of Africa has more than 1,000 bird species, to be exact, there are 1,090. We are also home to over 50% of the entire bird population in Africa, and also 10% of the world. Our Queen Elizabeth, one of our national parks, has over 605 species, the largest of any protected area in Africa. Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, which is one of our 10 national parks, was voted Africa's #1 birding site by the African Bird Club. In terms of culture, I've already mentioned that Uganda has a very rich, diverse culture. We endowed with over 56 tribes and languages, each with a distinct cultural heritage, history, language, and food. We have different dances from the different cultures, the way of dressing, the beliefs, the customs, and the folklore are all very diverse. We are going to have some of the performances here by Jerry Troop. They are going to show you a bit of that, of the different cultural dances that we have from the different tribes. In terms of faith-based tourism, the Pearl of Africa has all the different faiths represented. We have the Baha'i Temple, which is the only one of its kind in Africa. We have the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namugongo, where faithfuls every year come to celebrate the Uganda Matters on the 3rd of June. Then we also have Gaddafi Mosque in Kampala, which is the second largest mosque in Africa. So we welcome visitors from here to come and check out the Gaddafi Mosque in the Pearl of Africa. Again, like I mentioned, we are a top destination for wildlife and safari. We boast to have the big 5. In fact, we don't only have 5, but we now have the big 7, to include the chimpanzees and the gorillas. We have a total of 10 national parks. Like I mentioned, we have the big 5 plus the big 2. So we have the lions, the elephants, leopards, buffaloes, and the rhinoceros. To top it up, we have the big 2, which is the chimpanzees and the gorillas. And I said, like I mentioned already, we are home to over 54% of the world's population of the mountain gorillas. Our country, the Pearl of Africa, is the best place to see tree climbing lands. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware that we have tree climbing lands in Uganda? Yes, we do. So you can come and check them out in Ishasha, in Queen Elizabeth National Park. We also have antelopes, we have cheetahs, giraffes, warthogs, crocodiles, hyenas, hippopotamus, and so much and so on. We have 10 national parks. I'll give you a brief overview about each of them very shortly. We have the Murchison Falls National Park, which has over 76 species of animals, of mammals, 451 species of birds. The Murchison Falls, we have elephants, giraffes, buffaloes, hippos, Nile crocodiles, and many more. In the Queen Elizabeth National Park, this is the ideal habitat for classic big game. We have 10 primate species, including the chimpanzees. Queen Elizabeth also has over 600 species of birds. 6,600, sorry. Kidepo Valley National Park, it is a provision of big game. We have over 77 mammal species, 475 bird species, and it was listed as number 3 in Africa's 10 best national parks by the CNN. We have Mount Elgon National Park, which has over 300 species of birds. It has small antelopes, forest monkeys, elephants, and buffaloes. Mount Elgon, ladies and gentlemen, was also named the 17th highest mountain in Africa. We have Rwenzori National Park, designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994 because of its natural beauty. In the Rwenzori National Park, we have over 70 mammals, 217 bird species. We also have the snow-capped Mount Rwenzori, like I mentioned. Kibale National Park is home to 70 mammal species, 13 species of primates, including the chimpanzee. There is also over 375 species of birds. Bwindi Impenetrable National Park was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994. It has over 400 species of plants, an estimated 356 mountain gorillas, 120 mammals, including several primate species such as the baboons and the chimpanzees. We also have there the 350 species of birds. Lake Iburo National Park has over 350 bird species, and it's also home to a variety of animals, including the zebras, the impalas, eland, the buffalo, leopards, the hippo, and the hyenas. Semliki National Park, ladies and gentlemen, has incredible hot springs. It is also home to numerous Central African wildlife species. We have the Mutahinga Gorilla National Park, where you find the mountain gorillas. That was about the leisure tourism product, ladies and gentlemen. We also boast of being one of the top MICE destinations. MICE is meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is one of the preferred destinations for MICE. I want to mention again that we were recognized as one of the safest destinations in Africa. So more reason for people from the UAE to come and visit our beautiful country. You will also find the best continent that the continent of Africa has to offer in terms of MICE facilities, to luxurious incentive packages, and with fewer visitors than in longer established East African destinations. So our destination is not very crowded, which makes it a very perfect destination for your meetings and conferences. We are currently ranked as number 10 on the ICA World Rankings, which is the global ranking system for MICE destinations. We are currently number 10, ladies and gentlemen. And we are also, we have the 10 national parks that I've talked about that contain a diverse variety of habitats ranging from the snake-capped mountains and vast papyrus swamps to the dark tropical forests and the open savanna plains. So this is about the incentives when you come for the meetings. Here is a picture of Kampala showcasing the different meeting venues that you can come and host your meetings at when you're in Kampala. Our capital city, Kampala, is built on 7 hills and close to Lake Victoria, with a key advantage of being a very safe city in the world. Kampala is 40 kilometers from Entebbe, where we have the international airport, and it offers all the amenities of a modern capital city, with a wide choice of accommodation, international standard conference centers, and great international restaurants with a varied range of fine cuisine. We've gone ahead to mention a couple of the meeting venues that we have in the capital city, Kampala. We have the Speak Resort and Conference Center in Munyonyo. We have the Kampala Serena Hotel and Conference Center, Kampala Sheraton Hotel, Imperial Group of Hotels, Africana Hotel, and Mistil Residences, and Protea Group of Companies. Our 2 top meeting venues have recently won some of the top accolades. Kampala Serena Hotel and Conference Center won Uganda's leading hotel at the World Travel Awards in 2018, and our Speak Resorts and Conference Center won number 1 in Africa at World Luxury Hotels Awards in 2019. Our meeting capacity is up to 3,500 pax, and The rooms are estimated, mainly it is 3 to 5 star hotel rooms in Kampala, and it is expected to cost about 7,000 bucks. We have some pictures, ladies and gentlemen, of the Kampala Serena Hotel and the Speak Resort and Conference Center. Again, pictures of the Kampala Serena and Mestil, where you can host over 300 bucks. Then we move on to Entebbe. We have the State House located in Entebbe, which is the official office and residence of our president, which makes Entebbe the chief seat of the power in the country. Entebbe is on the shores of Lake Victoria and is the main point of entry into our beautiful country for international arrivals through the International Entebbe Airport. The 4-lane Entebbe Kampala Express Highway is the fastest road that is going to link you from Entebbe to the capital city. There isn't traffic at all, so you can connect to Kampala from Entebbe in about 25 to 30 minutes. In Entebbe itself, you can host some meetings with capacities of up to 1,500 people. We also have some 3 to 5 star hotels in Entebbe, including the Lake Victoria Hotel, whose picture appears on the screen. We can also host some meetings at the Protea Hotel by the Marriott. Imperial Group of Companies, I've already mentioned Lake Victoria, so those are some of the different facilities where you can host meetings in Uganda. In terms of incentives, at the beginning of the presentation, I talked about the water rafting, the game, and the different things that you can do in terms of incentives when you come for business. For incentives and the pre-post tours after the meetings, you can go to Jinja, where you find the source of the Nile, and East Africa's adventure capital. We have whitewater rafting, bungee jumping, horse riding, and the biking. We have the different cultures. So this is part of the incentives when you come for the meetings. Our MICE credentials as a MICE destination. We have some of the meetings that we have hosted previously. Uganda hosted the 8th African Population Conference. We will be hosting the 8th African Population Conference on the 18th to the 22nd of November 2019, which will be hosting over 1,000 delegates. We shall also be hosting we just hosted the 64th Commonwealth Parliamentarians Conference on the 22nd to the 29th of September this year. We also hosted the Africa Now Summit in March this year with over 1,000 delegates. We shall be hosting the 4th African Judicial Dialogue on the 30th of October to 1st November this year with over 400 delegates. In 2017, we hosted the World Cross Country Championship in Kampala that had thousands of athletes from across the world, not to mention the TOCA meeting that we hosted some time back. So that is an example of the different meetings that we've hosted as a destination for MICE. So we are proud to say that Uganda is the preferred destination for both leisure and MICE. So with that, I've come to the end of the presentation. Next, you are going to hear from Glenn to tell us more about the campaign that we are launching today, which is Experience Uganda First. The objective of the campaign is to see that we continue to aggressively market and promote Uganda as the preferred African destination in the UAE, and also to get more people to come to Uganda to visit Africa. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for a very comprehensive overview of all the reasons to recommend Uganda to your clients for both business, MICE, and also naturally for leisure. Talking of leisure, what we would like to do is put together a campaign here very briefly, the objectives of it are that we're looking to reach out and sort of see, we understand that perhaps not many people from this region have traveled to Uganda yet. Can I just see a raise of hands of those who have? There, I think we've got a lot of work to do, but it's a great start, and that's what this campaign is all about. And so what we're looking to do is that we understand that people from this region are extremely well-traveled. They have been to many destinations, and they're looking to go to more new destinations as well. We almost want to work on people's vanity of having them the first in their circle, the first amongst their friends, the first amongst their acquaintances and work fellows, to be the first one to go to say that they've been to Uganda. We also want to reach out to influencers that are perhaps not yet gone and done something about Uganda, and for them to be the first to be able to put out the messages. So we also see you, everyone here today, as ambassadors for Uganda to go out there as first. And we're extremely happy and honored to be partnering with Emirates today, who have very kindly put forward some tickets that would be coming as a door prize. And we also have our DMC and lodge partners that have also come on board to put together an extremely wonderful prize. So instead of just saying about Experience Uganda first, we're going to have someone in this room today also be the first of the first that's able to go out, thanks to Emirates and our partners in Uganda. So thank you very much. Going forward, people that we think that might be interested in this, but of course you know your clients better than us, but we see, obviously it's going to be well-traveled people. We know that people, if they haven't been to other places before, they're not perhaps going to choose Uganda first. That's okay. We want people that are looking for an experience that they will remember, an experience that they will take with them for the rest of their lives, not just a place to tick off the list. And this is what Uganda offers. Of course, it has the adventures for adventure seekers, and also we see potential with school camps, not just with only the environmental side that can be experienced, but also the opportunity to meet with the schools in Uganda, and also to do community service if schools are having those elements as part of their programs. So we put together just a couple of different things that will be going forward. We will be launching in the next couple of weeks an online training course for agents, so that they can become Uganda experts, because we do understand that you need the confidence to pass it on to your clients. And we're very thankful for the Uganda Tourism Board and Claire, under her instruction as well, that we'll be here to support you on a daily basis, being based here in Dubai. We'll also created some promotional brochures that you'll probably see in front of you, both in English and Arabic. And we'll also be going forward with social media campaigns to push out the hashtag of Experience Uganda First. We are starting this in November, and we'll go through to March, and if all goes well, inshallah, we can hopefully extend it even after that. So one of the key things that we have, just before I mention about the visas, is part of this, and to also incentivize and do something that's also very unique for this, this market especially. The DMCs have kindly suggested that we'll be able to provide complimentary air transfers on all the packages that they're putting forward. So this is something quite unique that they've put together for this. One of the big questions that we always ask is what to do with visas. It's a very simple process. It's an e-visa. You can go online, and we have 4 simple steps. I won't go through it all. Single entry usually costs around about $50 US. You do, however, will also need a yellow fever certificate going in. And that's it. That is the campaign in brief. I just wanted to keep it very, very simple. But I would just like to, perhaps if we can have our DMC partners and lodge partners, if you could just stand so that people can see who you are. Because I know for a lot of our travel trade partners here that they would very much like to be in contact with you. Yes, if you could also raise as well. So we've got, please, before you go, we would like you all to share, they have their brochures, they even have their price list with them as well. Campaigns, promotional packages have already been created. So if you can meet with them before you leave, please, that would be greatly appreciated. And then we can kick off with a great start. Talking of great starts, as mentioned, we've got some very, we're privileged to have some very special guests with us today. So without any further ado, I'd like to pass over to His Excellency, Tape Wanume Kibedi, the Ugandan ambassador to the UAE, to give you a few remarks of welcome to. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, the Master of Ceremonies. Good afternoon, everybody. Honorable Minister and my colleague, also Ambassador Kabonero, the High Commission of Uganda to Dar es Salaam. Ladies and gentlemen, most of what maybe I should have said in the absence of Uganda Tourism Board has been said, because for us as the embassy, whatever we do when it comes to economic and commercial diplomacy, we do it on behalf of various institutions back home. And this includes tourism, and Clay has given out the message very well. Maybe for purposes of introducing myself, my name is Kewan Mechibedi, Ambassador of Uganda to the United Arab Emirates since November last year. I will just use my experience to add on what Clay has already presented. What I want to emphasize about Uganda also, besides what Clay has ably presented, in Uganda we have the perfect, or the most perfect weather in the world. Having worked in Europe for 5 years before transferring here, I was the ambassador in the Nordic countries for 5.5 years. It was after getting posted to Europe that I first used a heavy jacket. I didn't know before how a jacket feels like, but you can't avoid it when it comes to winter, actually starting from autumn. Then after coming here is when I've gotten this experience of ACs, air conditioners. I didn't have that experience before, and that's why you may tell from my sound that I'm already suffering from a cold as a result of not getting so much used of the air conditions. Because the point I want to emphasize, honestly, in Uganda, it is always summertime. January to December, you don't need a jacket, you don't need an AC. Maybe the best you can do is to get a fan when it comes to the temperatures getting to 28. When you go to the north, that's when it can go at most to 30 degrees Celsius. And during the rain season, it gets at least, the bottom can be 18 degrees Celsius. So that's the weather throughout there. Then the other thing I would also like to emphasize is that it's only in Uganda where you can have one leg in the northern hemisphere and the other leg in the southern hemisphere. We are just astride the equator. So since my minister is here and also Clay has ably presented, I will not say much more about Uganda. The other only thing I would like to say that when it is hot here, I would like to encourage all of you to have your summer houses in Uganda, such that when it gets hot, like this morning, our Prime Minister has just been sharing where we are coming from, Expo 2020 site, that the birds are very wise. When it comes to winter, they fly from Europe to Uganda. So when it is summertime, they fly back to Europe. So we should make a deal here. When it is summertime, all of you should travel to Uganda. And my minister has been telling me that there is so much land for your summer houses there. We can work that out, and for us as the embassy, we shall be happy to facilitate your transportation there, as in advising together with Uganda Tourism Board how you can get there, because now from Dubai we have 3 direct flights every day. 3 direct flights, because there is Emirates, there is Fly Dubai, and the Emirates added on recently since June another direct flight from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It leaves 1 a.m., meaning you can work, you can end your week working on a Thursday, and then tomorrow morning you'll be in Kampala to do business, and Saturday, and return again to work here on Sunday. That is how convenient it has become to travel to Uganda. And also within the region, we've revived our national career, so you can ably connect to the other places because we have a one tourism visa for Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. So I think I should not preempt what the minister is going to say. Hope that Master of Ceremony, I've done what you wanted me to do. Is there any other role you would like me to do?
I think you've done it perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And now, without any further ado, I would also like to call on the Honourable Professor Ibrahim Kamuntu, Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, to give you a few words. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. And let me begin by recognizing His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of Uganda in the United Arab Emirates, Ambassador Mohamed Kibedi. He has other ambassadors and high commissioners. We are very heavily represented here. Plus members of parliament whom I would want to ask to stand up for recognition. Because I can see, I was expecting, great. Thank you so much. In addition, we have institutional representation, including Uganda Tourism Board, Uganda Wildlife Authority, Uganda Investments Authority, Uganda Export Promotions Council. So we are here basically because of the strong interest. I therefore want to thank everybody who has spared his time to come and to warmly welcome you to this function where we are going to launch Experience the Power of Africa, Uganda in United Arab Emirates. I want to begin by announcing we have a Deputy Prime Minister as well, who will come and officially launch this exercise. My role at this moment is simply to complement what has already been said. My name is Ibrahim Kamuntu, I'm the Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. And sometimes when I'm talking about Uganda, I have a feeling that you might think I'm praising Uganda because I'm the minister. And sometimes I want to quote others, not myself, about Uganda, so that you can see the objectivity in our presentation. And I thank you, Claire. If you begin from Churchill, whom you all know, was a British Prime Minister. He was an intellectual, he was a military man. Clearly, his perception is respected globally, historically. In his own word, Uganda is the only country in the world. These are his words, not mine. Uganda is the only country in the world named the Pearl of Africa. Why? Because it's the only country in the world with the source of the Nile. This is true. This is a fact. The source of the Nile it has some mystique about it. It powers its waters in the Mediterranean. And the discovery of Uganda, discovery of ports, because we knew Uganda, but the discovery of Europeans about Uganda was inspired by the source of the Nile powering its waters in the Mediterranean. They wanted to see where this water comes from. They trace, and speak. Sure enough, came and saw this water comes out of this largest lake and begins its journey, which takes 3 months. So if you're a student of history and discovery, would you not want to see what inspired your ancestors to come to Uganda? Yeah, this is true. Fact. This is the fact. Second fact. Uganda is the only country in the world with the largest freshwater lake, Lake Victoria. Nowhere else. I am quoting others, not myself. These are facts. Uganda is also, thank you very much, Ambassador. Uganda is the only country in the world where you don't need an AC because the climate is so attractive. The outside and the inside naturally fits into your body temperature. Where it is. And if you are an investor, this is a big saving. Yes, this is a big saving. But sanctuary. By the way, Korea, you should have added, Uganda is the only country with not only the big five, I'm sure you have had big five, which is almost like a campaign. It's the only country with big five plus the remaining mountain gorillas. That is also a fact. If you want to see your closest cousins, this is scientific. Yeah, this is real scientific. Those who are students of evolution, they will tell you the human beings evolved from these mountain gorillas, and they are 98 DNA, almost close to the human beings. Surely, if you want to know where you came from, the places to come is in Uganda. Fact. That is true. And we can go on. Recently, I officiated at the African Primatological Society, where again, they will tell you the largest concentration of primates is again in Uganda. That is also true. If I was to mention others who have credited Uganda, Lonely Planet is a very prestigious publication, you all know it, in 2012, and I quote it, the place you want to visit before you die. The place, this is Lonely Planet itself in its ranking, Uganda is the country you want to visit before you die. So please, before you die, this is a place you should really come and visit. And others have added. Actually, the CNN, ladies and gentlemen, CNN is a huge, you know it. In recent time, it was ranking for expatriates who want to raise families outside their own home of origin. And Uganda was classified as #1 country if you are an expatriate and you want to raise a family, the place you want to do it is in Uganda. Reason? Uganda was never protected, it was never colony. You need to know this history because the temperament of the population is influenced by history. Most independent countries are influenced by the struggle they went through to get independence. Uganda's independence was negotiated. Uganda was never colony, it was a British protectorate. And as a result, our race relationship with foreigners is excellent. Very well. We didn't have to find settlers in order to have bad blood of history. Ours was simply negotiation, granting independence, and we looked at Britain as a country that protected us, not colonized us. And that's the difference when you come to relate to Ugandans. Actually, one of the Churchill's own words was the most friendly people he found during colonial time were Ugandans. Well, I can go on. I am now quoting others. I want to quote myself this time. Just 2 things I can add. Uganda is now peace. It's an island of peace. Very stable, very secure, very peaceful. Kampala is almost the entertainment capital of the East African region. You want to see life at night? Kampala is the place you want to go. Furthermore, in terms of macroeconomic stability, the country has been stable economically, inflation controlled, single digit for over decades, and economic growth on the rising trajectory, and indeed, the country is like on the economic takeoff of becoming a middle-income country. this is a place, if you want to invest, you really want to invest. In addition, I think they showed the strategic location of the country. Uganda is at the heart of the African continent, and consequently, once you visit Uganda, we have even a single visa. If you visit Uganda, you can visit Kenya without additional visa. You can also visit Rwanda without an additional visa. You can pick your visa at the airport. You don't need passport. All these, in my own submission to you, makes Uganda a very unique country, a very friendly country. And I want to thank Glenn, I want to thank Claire for your presentation. If there are any questions, we will be very pleased to answer those questions. Just like Churchill concluded, Uganda is the parallel of Africa. Uganda is the paradise on earth. Come to Uganda. You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Another round of applause, then, please. Okay, the Deputy Prime Minister was planned to come here, and he was looking very forward to say a few words to you. Unfortunately, he's been held up with the matter, so he wanted to pass on his apologies. He will hopefully come a little bit later, but in the meantime, he's asked us, if we may, Excellency and Minister, if we go ahead, if we launch this campaign by having one of the first people to experience Uganda first, chosen from this room. And so for that, I would like to ask you, Excellency, and also Minister, if you could come up to the stage. Claire, I'd like you, if you could come up too. And as I mentioned before, we're extremely happy to have Emirates supporting us with this prize. And I'd like to ask Mr. Mohammed Al-Shaiba to also come forward. And I would also like to ask our two Ugandan colleagues that are also providing wonderful prizes to give you a little bit of an update of what those prizes actually are. From Emirates, we have 2 economy tickets that will fly from Dubai to Entebbe, Uganda return. We will also have 2 nights stay at the Njumbi Gorilla Lodge, and also 2 nights stay at the Bakuba Safari Lodge as well. So we've got a wonderful prize where you get to really see the best of Uganda with Emirates. And so, without any further ado, if we may, Minister, if you could pick the lucky person. Hopefully you pick me. Please pick me. Thank you.
Hey. Yes, I want to announce the card that I have picked. This is the card of Mr. Sue S.W. Sue Thomas, and he's a reporter. He's an eye of Horabia. This is the guy that I have picked, and if he's available, just stand up for identification. You are the guy.
No, are you in the room? Because we all know the rule. You have to be in the room.
Let me announce it again.
Okay.
This is Mr. Sue Thomas. He's a reporter and he's a journalist.
And you've got until 4.
Eye of Arabia. Eye of Arabia.
You know what, Minister? I think we had a nearly first. A nearly first. I think what we'll do now, we'll go for the next one. We always have a rule here that you need to be in the room to be able to win the prize.
I pick again. Yes, I can close my eyes for purposes of confidentiality, transparency, and impartiality. Look, I have picked this guy. Now, this guy is he comes from Marada tourism, travel, and his name is Farah. Yes. Farah. If Farah is not singing, I'm going to get all the Farah.
Let's come together. Let's public.
Farah? You are the Farah. Can you dance? What the music? Thank you. Farah, oye! Farah, oye! Thank you very much. So, just stand there, yes, sir. Yeah, thank you very much. And the second row? No, we'll take a photo. Yeah. Well done, Farah. You have one.
Congratulations, Mabu. So these are very, very close. Experiences.
Listen to this. This Farah has uniquely, transparently, fortunately, won a free ticket by Emirates. Well, thank you very much to Uganda and back. And in Uganda, you have free accommodation in one of the prestigious lodges in one of the largest national parks. And I have added, it will have free entry into the park. Parking normally pay, but this time, you will freely enter this park in the lodge for 2 nights. Thanks, Emirates, for experiencing, as it were, because this is a convention experience, for experiencing the power of Africa on the African continent. Well done, congratulations.
Thank you very much, and Mabruk once more. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Shukran.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have lunch will be served. We would love to be able to have a chance to now meet you one-to-one as well. We'll have lunch being served in here. There's a buffet that's being prepared at the back there. So please feel free. Please do meet our DMC partners, and we look forward to working with you in the future for the promotion of the Pearl of Africa, Uganda. Thank you.
We welcome you in UAE.
Thank you.
And first I would like to ask you, there is a lot of places in Africa have the same facilities, the same culture as it is one region together. So when I select Uganda, why I have to select Uganda, not any other country even close to it?
First, just listen to me, because there is something unique about Uganda. And from history to the present, let me quote Churchill, who was the former British Prime Minister, and he visited Africa in 1907. He visited what they used to call British possessions on the African continent, and finally he arrived into Uganda. In his own words, Uganda is unique, and the uniqueness that we observed was, first, from corner to corner the country is green. You can throw a seed, it will grow without any effort. You also observed Uganda's people are the most friendly people he has ever seen on earth. But Uganda is also unique. the source of the Nile. Uganda is the only country with the source of the Nile. And that waters of the Nile are the source of civilization for the entire Mediterranean region, because Nile pours its water in the Mediterranean Sea. Uganda has the largest freshwater lake, Lake Victoria, plus other lakes. Uganda is strategically located at the heart of the African region. Consequently, only Uganda, if for instance you came to Uganda, we even have a single visa. As you come to Uganda, you can visit Rwanda, you can visit Kenya without any additional visa application. Uganda's climate is the most attractive. Uganda is across the equator. Right on the equator, you have snow. This is unique. There is no any other country on the African continent that is on the equator and yet it has snow. Because by geography, being on the equator, the sun would be directly over your head. This time, a country that would have glaciers on mountains of the moon across the equator. Tell me which other country. In addition, people talk about the big five. The big five, these are animals, big five. They are talking about lions, buffaloes, hippos. Uganda not only has big five, but it has big five plus mountain gorillas. If you know mountain gorillas, these are closest cousins to human beings. And Uganda has more than 54% of the remaining mountain gorillas in the world. The climate is attractive. The people are friendly. The country is stable, is peaceful, is secure. And the country over the 30 years has been economically stable, macroeconomic stability. Inflation kept in single digits over the years. And economic growth. Then tourism in our strategic plan, direction and planning of the country, tourism is identified as one of the growth sectors which is becoming a transformative force fueling the development of the economy. I would want you to come
I hope
to Uganda,
Okay.
part of Africa.
Yeah. For the tourism income, I mean for the economic income in the
Yes,
country,
yes.
and there is the tourism income. How much percentage now for it, and how much the target of the tourism you are looking for?
At this moment, tourist arrivals in the country are growing. We have about 1.505 million tourist arrivals. We are aiming at 4 million by 2020. That growth,
Yeah.
we need more. And also I should mention to you, Uganda is virgin in terms of footprint of human beings on the environment. So if you want, whether it is ecosystems, whether it is fresh air, whether it is forestry, whether it is water bodies, Uganda has not experienced this massive tourism that endangers or harms the environment. It's a virgin, and that's where you really want to come. And there are so many attractions. If you are a Muslim, we have Gaddafi Mosque, is one of the best on the African continent. If you are Christian, we have Namugongo Mata's Shrine, we have Baha'i Temple, we have a series of historical churches, Catholic, Anglican, and we have cultural heritage sites, including UNESCO sites, Kasubi Tom. This is a country, when you say packaging, Uganda is exceptionally endowed by natural assets, cultural assets, as well as attractive climate and friendly human beings.
As a normal tourism, you can get tourism from all over the world.
Oh, yes.
But which country you are focused on to get the tourism from them? Which country you would like people to know about
Yes.
Uganda?
Oh, thank you very much. We have what you would call traditional tourist sources. which is influenced by history. For instance, we are a British protectorate, not a colony.
Yeah.
So our relationship with Britain is excellent because we were never colonized, we are protected. So Britain becomes a major tourist source market because of this history, plus United States, which is English speaking. But we are now focusing on emerging markets, United Arab Emirates. And right now we have appointed a destination development firm right here. We are also looking at China. China is an emerging superpower. It's now second largest economy in the world to United States. We are looking at India and Japan. These are potential markets, and for an obvious reason, these are countries which are emerging as their incomes per capita increases. People want to travel, and these people pose the greatest source of potential for tourists arriving in our country. We are targeting them. Today, we have launched what we call tourism experience, the Pearl of Africa in Uganda, and we have launched that campaign here in the United Arab Emirates. Yeah. I came with my deputy prime minister, and I came with ambassadors from neighboring countries, Uganda's ambassadors posted in neighboring countries. I came with members of parliament. I also came with institutions, Uganda Wildlife Authority, Uganda Tourism Board, Uganda Investments Board, Uganda Export Promotion Center, Council. All these are intended to address potential tourists interested in coming to Uganda. And we are very pleased the audience which we had at the conference in China.
Regarding the tourism visa, is there any restricted for any country?
That's what I'm telling you right now. You come, you pick your visa at the airport, and that visa,
whatever the nationality,
regardless of nationality,
it's open. Okay.
And that visa, we call it single visa, that enables you to visit Kenya and to visit Rwanda without any additional cost. It's a place you want to come.
Thank
Uganda
you.
is the Pearl of Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.